Stories from the Storm is a project of the Houston Flood Museum in partnership with Houston Public Media and is supported by Houston Endowment. Visit houstonfloodmuseum.org.
The thing they always point out is it was amazing how you and the mayor worked together. And I'm going, and you've heard me say it.
Right.
What did they expect us to do? Start throwing punches at each other? I mean, it's our job. So, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
the day or two before Harvey, where were you? What was going on?
We had that city council meeting on Wednesday when I made the announcement during the mayor's report that there was something brewing. I didn't know whether I was going to actually hit. And I think you and I had a conversation, and we said we were going to get together and start alerting people about starting to make preparations.
It was kind of good news, bad news. The good news was Hurricane Harvey was going to land far south of us. But I was beginning to hear from Jeff Lindner, our now famous meteorologist. There could be a lot of rain come our way. And he was talking, gosh, we could have 20 inches of rain.
Right. It was going to be a major rain event. And then we were asking people to, get the food, the medicine, all of the things they needed to do, just prepare to kind of hunker down, for that event. Right.
Glad to hear you use that phrase.
I remember that. I borrowed it.
Yeah. And it was, it was clear.
Yeah.
The weather was okay. And then, of course, the issue later came up about evacuation, which I know drove both of us just up
bonkers.
The wall because it wasn't even a decision we considered.
Because the hurricane wasn't going to hit Houston, Harris County.
And you don't know where the rain's going to fall. Right. And if we'd gone out on that Wednesday and said, everybody leave the county and the city, people would have laughed at us.
And so what do you do with, in Houston, 2.3 million, in the county, an additional 4.5 million folk, where they were going to go. So for you and I, it was not a major decision point.
No, it wasn't at all. And the first day the rains came, which I guess was really Saturday, first place I checked on, I said, did it rain in Meyerland? Did it flood in Meyerland?
Right.
And everybody said, no,
right.
Meyerland's fine. I thought, whew.
Right. It was not until Sunday, right around 5 o'clock, when we started getting reports that there was several bands that were coming in that were going to be bringing quite a bit of rain.
And they just kept coming.
And it kept coming. And then you and I talked again, and we scheduled a press conference on that Sunday evening.
You couldn't get there.
Yeah.
You had to literally wade in.
Judge, we got within a couple of blocks of the center, and then we literally had to walk in because the truck that I was in could not get the rest of the way.
And you and I have laughed about it since, but as I've gone around the country, if you survive one of these, you become an expert.
Right.
And I'm not sure I know a whole lot more than I did before. Some of the events in Harvey were painful. I mean, for example, the decision to release waters out of the reservoirs.
That was painful.
And that hit you really hard. And that was one where, gee, we wish that hadn't occurred in the middle of the night. It would have been a little bit easier.
If you and I both had gotten notice ahead of time, at the very minimum, we could have helped to provide notice to the people that were directly impacted. But I know we were concerned about the amount of water that had fallen and the amount of water that was on the western side of the dams themselves. But that's what caught a lot of people by surprise, and their homes, the streets and homes, ended up flooding. That was not one of the high moments at all.
No, and the other low moment, of course, was Kingwood, that whole area, San Jacinto River Authority releasing water. And how do you handle all that?
Throughout this whole Harvey event, those two things, what you just talked about, were the most sensitive points. I guess not the rain falling itself from the sky, but the release where thousands of homes ended up flooding. That, to me, was just the low point of dealing with this disaster.
Well, one positive was after those earlier floods, we, being the county, the city, TxDOT, decided to block all of the underpasses where anybody had ever drowned.
Right, and that was a huge plus.
We don't know how many lives we may have saved by doing that.
That was a huge
Unfortunately, plus. You did have the one police officer,
Sergeant Perez.
Now we know another underpass that we've got to block. But we do learn lessons out of these things.
And as I've heard you say many times, every event is different. Every storm is different. Every storm has its own signature. And so we have to, in many ways, customize our approach based on the uniqueness of each particular storm.
You and I have gotten a lot of attention and this, that, and the other. But all those first responders and all those private citizens,
exceptional.
They were the ones out there wading in the water, pulling people out of harm's way.
It wasn't just government. It just wasn't the city or the county, but it was the city, the county, and the community as a whole. And that, to me, that's the takeaway. People needed help, and people responded.
Well, let's just cancel hurricane season from now on. Okay?
Man, I wish I could.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you.
Working with you was great.
Thanks.